Hello and welcome to Vibra Finance. My name is Lindsay, and in today's episode, I will be going over the greatest threat to the future of economic liberties in our lifetimes. Yes, I'm talking about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. But before I get started, a little hello from Vibra Finance.
At Vibra Finance, we seek out the hidden gems in cryptocurrency. We will tailor your portfolio to work for you. Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you overwhelmed with all the jargon in crypto? Is your portfolio underperforming and you want to reposition into consistent winning blue chip coins and viable projects? Do you feel like you missed out on DeFi, Metaverse, and NFTs? Here at Vibra Finance, we provide you with the data, skills, and tools you need to stay on top of the digital asset market. Vibra Finance, we are the future of crypto.
Hello and welcome to March Madness. Check out these bubbles. We have a sea of red, but we have a few good picks in here. Check it out. Hex is up for the week, 13.1%. Love to see it. Okay, let's get into this. So CBDCs are central bank digital currencies, and they're picking up the pace as 2023 kicks off. They're picking up the pace, but they've been in the works since 2016. So, all right, let's get into this. Progress on central bank digital currencies has been relatively slow, according to what they're releasing to the public, but a flurry of tests near the end of the year suggests that CBDC initiatives are improving their pace as central banks try to determine the impact on traditional banking and payment systems. So far, there's about a dozen CBDs that have launched, and according to the tracker from Atlantic Council, there are 17 in pilot and 72 are in research and development. According to them, a well-designed CBDC can help provide a real-time view of risk and currency outflows to help implement specific and targeted measures to prevent financial contagions from spreading further in the event of a crisis. That's according to Gilbert Verdane, the founder and CEO of Quant. So if you're familiar with Quant and what they're doing, I think he's got a good idea on that one. So here are some CBD projects that were underway near the start of 2023, and we'll start here with the United States. So the first thing I want to point out is that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's Innovation Center and the Monetary Authority of Singapore are working on an experiment that will determine how wholesale central bank digital currencies can improve cross-border payments. Wholesale CBDCs are designed for large parties to move substantial amounts of money and are considered to be implemented faster than retail CBDCs, which are designed for customer use. What about the hybrid CBDCs? No mention of those here. Interesting. So a hybrid CBDC will be a mix between wholesale and retail. And so if you're familiar with wholesale retail pricing, you'll notice a big gap in those. So I'll be curious to see where the hybrids fall into that. And a second project, the New York Fed is participating in a proof of concept test that will determine the feasibility of digital currencies operating in a network of financial institutions. They mentioned a few banks here. And they also mentioned that the financial institutions participating in the New York Fed test, along with MasterCard and SWIFT. Okay, the New York Fed's projects are experimental, and they have not taken a position on whether the U.S. needs CBDC. That's what they're saying as of, let's see, when was this article written? January 2nd. So here we go. These countries are picking up the pace. We have the U.S. In the works on it. They've been working on this since 2016. But now and I'll get to that in a little bit, we have a representative, Tom Emmer, who's pushing for more transparency, but like I said, I'll get back into that one. Here we go. Singapore. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is working with partners in several countries. Several countries, as I just mentioned, here, let's go pop right back up there. The New York Fed project. Here we go. Singapore. New York Federal Reserve Bank, Singapore. Singapore test pilots in banks in France, Switzerland, and Bank for International Settlements. So where was I going with that one? Here we have Spain is in the works for a CBDC. using Santander, digital euros, UK, France, Canada. We'll get back to Canada in a little bit here, and their use of CBDCs or abuse. Japan, Australia. Okay, so Australia, this article was released in January saying that um, Australian government has not made a final decision on a CBDC, that they are testing it out and they're going to announce its plans to finish a pilot. So they're announcing plans to finish a pilot, and then magically, this pilot appeared 3 months later. Now, this was either a well, uh, these plans are just they're out there. They've been out there in the media for us for months, and so when these things come to you and they hit you live at home, this is why we're talking about it now. We're talking about in March of 2023. These things have been in the works since 2016, and last year in March 22, I'll get to that in a little bit, where Biden's suddenly pushing for a digital dollar. But let's go back to Australia here. Australia drew one step closer on Wednesday to potentially establishing a central bank digital currency, as the RBA, or the Reserve Bank of Australia, announced its upcoming pilot phase. So they will have for over 14 use cases, and they're asking firms like ANZ and MasterCard to participate in the program. They're not asking them to participate in the program at this point. They have already been participating in the program at this point. They're up and running. You can go into, you can click out these announcements, or if you go back, I put all the links in the description below so you can go through, read all these articles in detail yourself. I'm sure I'm missing a ton of things. There's so much going on in crypto. This is like one piece of the puzzle, but it's such a massive piece of the puzzle. I'll get more into that shortly. But I thought that was kind of interesting that they're offline payments to tokenize invoices for businesses and livestock auctions. So CBDCs and livestock, interesting. The pilot and broader research study will be conducted in parallel. All right, I lost my place on that one. I guess I'm done with Australia and their pilot program. But what I wanted to point out too, and I lost my place on here, is that they're using Circle stablecoin USDC. Circle. Let's see, part of the, all right, never mind. I won't scroll away on that one. I could go sideways all day. Okay. Anyway, so here we go with ex-Biden advisor saying an administrator was pushing for a digital dollar. This was published on February 28th, 2023. And I love when I lose my highlights on these things. Sorry, guys. So they're saying that a central bank digital currency could make a dramatic shift on both the banking industry and the crypto sector, including its potential effects on non-governmental stablecoins, whose role may overlap a virtual dollar backed by the government. Since Biden's order, the U.S. Treasury Department, Biden's order came through in 2022, and this article is hitting light from, and he's out of there. He's happy to toot the horn on that one. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So here we have an ex-Biden administrator saying that he was trying to push our government to launch a digital dollar. So what happens when you push things through really quickly? Things fall through the cracks. There are things that cannot be falling through the cracks on here. With central bank digital currencies, there's too much going on. There's been so much going on already right in front of our face to test public response to these reactions. I'll get into that in a little bit. I found a great article that really covers it really well. So the U.S. must carefully consider the development of a digital dollar. Yes, I would please ask that you carefully consider it. The next phase of the digital economy is what some refer to as the ownership economy, a new evolution of financial transactions which consist of a trusted, immutable mechanism for transferring value in real time over the internet. But so this has to be approached through policies that prioritize. This is important. We need to prioritize the values of privacy, individual sovereignty, and the free market. So in our increasingly digitized economy, it is clear that two key problems must be solved in order to maintain these rules. Sorry, I lost my place for a second there. First, although cash may be viewed as increasingly more inconvenient, well, that's why the dollar was born in the first place, right? Gold is just too heavy to carry around, and it was too inconvenient to lug your gold from one side of the world to the other. So how convenient that we can now switch off, and now they're saying that cash is inconvenient. Cash is not inconvenient. It's not. Cash is very convenient. Second, our financial system's multi-day transaction settlement window introduces risk to the market. So multi-days, multiple time equals your money is suspended in space. Where's all that money going? Where's all that money settled? Well, we'll find out when the CBDCs show us where, or maybe they won't show us where. Well, we'll see. So they're saying that that CBDCs could accomplish these objectives and increase economic efficiency. But what are the consequences of developing? What if we get it wrong? All right, a retail CBDC. I already talked about that, the difference between retail and wholesale. And then again, this article published in December 9th of 2022 is saying that the Biden administration is currently pursuing analysis on a retail CBDC. But are they being transparent with their pursuit of analysis? I don't believe that they're being transparent in real time. So the mindset, yeah, of course, the mindset of the US is that it's fallen behind other nations like China. If that's the mindset of the US, that we have fallen behind other nations like China using a CBDC, we all need to wake up. And at the end of this, but towards the end of the stream, I will give you some information to take action so that we don't fall in line with China with CBDCs. All right. ISO implementation. I had that pulled up. Oh, here we go with date. I just wanted to show you like dates and timeline. So ISO 222 is the cross-border payment system that they're putting in place. And there's many cryptos that are working with it now. Where is that? So I just wanted to kind of show you the timeline on that. Between August 22 and March 23, the pilot service will be adhering to a current version of these standards. As of July 23rd, 2023, today is March 3rd, or March 4th, excuse me, March 4th. As from July 23rd, 2023, the SR version of the message will be available on FinPlus pilot feature and will be implemented in FinPlus Live on the 19th of November, 2023. So let's just keep some dates in our minds, and we'll march forward. Pun intended, of course. All right, so here we have someone who seems to be in the corner of saying, "Whoa, a CBDC introduced the whole digitizing the dollar. How are you going to do that with giving us and allowing us to maintain any sort of privacy, right?" Emmer's bill will also require the Federal Reserve to be transparent with Congress about any attempts to study the implementation of digital currency systems in the US. I really like that. I really like that he's pushing for transparency with these things. And it would be nice if they could change some of the language and make it real-time transparency so that, the people of the United States know what's going on in the United States currently and actively, not 3 months or a year later when we get a buzz article thrown out by an ex-Biden administrator saying, it's like, just so you know, we've been talking about this for a while. Yeah, well, we all have. That's okay. So using the CBDCs, central governments could enforce social credit systems like those used by parties in other countries like China. That's because CBDC would use programmable money. That's really important for those who don't even, if people don't even know what crypto means in the first place, the most important point to them is that it's programmable. And, if you could program your money you follow the money, right? So if you're following the money and the money is programmable, doesn't that insinuate they would give them some sort of centralized control so that they could continue to keep things programmed? Keep in mind that they don't refer to us as citizens of the United States often. They they refer to us as consumers. So CBDs could even be used to program negative rates on savings accounts if central authorities wanted to encourage spending to stimulate the economy. Beware of the digital dollar and CBDCs. So this article, I'm going to go through it a little bit, but I really encourage you to go through it. It's great. The New York Federal Reserve Bank has entered a partnership with major global banks to test the concept of a digital dollar. We know that, right? We've known that since the beginning of the stream. Sorry to repeat that. So the New York Fed's Innovation Center will join Citigroup, MasterCard, Wells Fargo, HSBC, and other financial players to run its test in a simulated environment. So CBDs truly constitute the greatest threat to the future of economic liberties in our lifetimes. They will dress these tools and make them look super fancy. They're going to make them look like they're going to just be the solution that we've been looking for. They're going to save the day. But in this article, they highlighted the dangers of CBDCs. And here are a few hypothetical examples of how the digital dollar controlled by a central government might work in practice. So the first example of this is hypothetically speaking, of course, if one were to go out and protest their governmental limits on personal freedoms, per se. So, you're peacefully protesting. You're just out there, hanging out with some truckers. It's kind of cold out there. I don't know. And you're standing up for your rights, right? Okay. But that nation's leader, wanting to quell the protest and protect his powers, instructs the Minister of Economic Control to reduce the protesters' CBDC balances by 50% every day until the protest ends. All of a sudden, you get pings on your phone. Everybody looks around each other. 50%? Hey, I see ya. Sound familiar? Economic growth is lagging, and the economists, this is another hypothetical situation, of course. Economic growth is lagging, and the economists and the federal government suspect it's because consumer spending isn't strong enough. Consumer spending, not the United States, not the U.S. citizen, not the individual, not the consumer isn't spending enough. We live in a consumer economy. It's always more and more, buy, and they're using that to their advantage. So there are ways to combat that. So anyway, people are saving their money rather than spending it, right? So because you're getting money monthly, maybe a little stimulation flowing through, a little, we'll see. But to fix this problem, the Ministry of Economic Control announces a new year-long negative interest rate for all CBDC accounts. So if you don't use it, you lose it. It'll be reduced every month. And so if no one's saving, they're spending, which is going to stimulate the economy, and yay, they've saved the day, hypothetically speaking, of course. Okay, another hypothetical situation is that you are at the grocery store. I don't know if any of you use a mobile app while you're scanning your groceries out in the store. Whole Foods, many markets are coming through where you won't even have to use the checkout line. They're scanning groceries, putting them right into their cart. So anyway, you're at the grocery store, you're going to pick out some stuff to have a barbecue with your friends, and you get to the checkout line and it says, "Boop, wait a second, you've now exceeded something's wrong with your order." Something that you went to the store to pay for, something's wrong with your order because you have, you've reached your carbon footprint this month. You ate too much meat. So they're going to tell you what, hypothetically speaking, of course, they could try to tell you what to eat. Soy would probably be an example of something they would suggest to many men out there. Anyway, so For example, this is already in play. And if you're not familiar with the system out there, there is a program that helps women and children. It's called WIC. And so they have created a profile for what a woman and children need in a healthy, stable diet. So WIC is a program that's been in, honestly, it's not necessarily it's a great thing to have if you need it and you need that support. I'm not downplaying WIC on this. What I'm saying is that they give you, excuse me, please. They give you a very specific limitation of the brands you can buy. They give you a very specific limit of the amount of things that you can buy. And when you take them, if you have extra or if it doesn't have the right, and I mean very specific, where it'll say like actual amount of vitamins in it, down to the vitamin content in it. If you take up a box of cream of wheat and it's not cream of wheat fortified, which is not fortified with iron, it's just more crap they're putting in their fillers. Anyway, with this WIC system, which works kind of like a CBDC, you are restricted to what you can buy. So if you went to the store to get some steaks for you and your friends, you guys are having a great old barbecue and you get back there with some Beyond Burgers, I don't think you're going to have many friends hanging out at your barbecue anymore. Those things are terrible for you. Beyond Burgers, just saying. All right. So hypothetical situation number 4. So, it's hunting season. We have, there is population control. Hunters, I couldn't do it, but I like deer meat. It's cool. And I am all for sustainably harvesting, and not animal cruelty. That's not good. But if we could do more hunting and less grocery shopping, this necessarily wouldn't be an issue. But this is anyway. So you went to pick up a new firearm for hunting season and you swing by the local goods store. But when you go to transfer your CBDs from your app to pay for them, you get an alert. You've exceeded your excuse me, we've detected activity on your social media accounts that suggest you are at risk for causing harm to yourself or others. You are prohibited from purchasing a firearm this year. Cash, does it seem so inconvenient now? Yeah. All right. And then another this is hypothetical, of course. A mild cough arrives from somewhere across the world. And although it's only lethal to people who are old and obese, society and the government has gone hysterical. This is hypothetically speaking, of course, right? Charlie didn't turn 19. Although it's only lethal to people that already have health issues, everybody just guys get hysterical and they implement lockdowns. The Ministry of Health, working on concert with the Friends and the Ministry of Economic Control, issue a nationwide freeze on all unnecessary expenditures to stop the transmission. Of course, the amounts of politicians and certain government employees remain unfrozen. Well, so that they can continue to work with, the government and because they've, received, things that. Anyway, I don't know how to put that without getting rugged on YouTube, but I think you guys kind of get the picture here. And if you're listening in on a podcast, it's way better to not imagine what I'm saying. It's terrible. So anyway, social credit scores, passports of all kinds. If you think that like those aren't just things of your imagination. These are things that have happened in real time. They have happened right in front of us as, I believe, test to see how far they can really push these boundaries. For a very specific example, in Canada, Prime Minister Trudeau froze the banks of political critics. In America, President Barack Obama signed the Operation Choke Point. These things have already been in play. I guess it's just a matter of how it's going to play out, and it's why it's so important to understand why DeFi, and really, when we're having conversations with people that are interested in crypto, but maybe a little bit overwhelmed, really starting with decentralized. I have found that when I am finding someone who's interested in crypto, but they're just way overwhelmed by everything, starting at why DeFi is probably the best place to start. Because if they don't understand why crypto, then they don't really understand what's going on around them and to them, not necessarily for them, but to them. So it's important to start off with noting that transactions on the Bitcoin network cannot be blocked or censored by any nation station. CBDCs are the exact opposite. Rather than peer-to-peer exchange, CBDCs offer peer government peer bank exchange. Rather than clear public simple rules, CBDCs are subject to the murky. They're murky, and they can be changed and charged at any moment. So Bitcoin blockchain, Bitcoin, it is what it is. If you know it, you know it. But it's just CBDCs could be a tyrant's dream of a tool of oppression, and they should be rejected as totalitarian schemes wherever and whenever they are posed. I mean, they're coming, and although we want to reject them, you can't just sit on your hands and do nothing. You have to take action. And Coinbase has launched a grassroots campaign. Adam covered this the other day, so I won't go crazy on this one. And like he said, this is not Coinbase doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're putting it out there because they can't do it alone. And you and I can't do it alone. But together, if we hop on over to take action, I have put the link in the description below too for you guys, those of you who want. I will copy and paste it into the comment box, into the chat here too. So you guys can head on over to this website, fill it out, give them your info, because at the end of the day, the only thing that we can do is take action. We can plan, but without any action, plans mean nothing. And if you're not taking action on those things, and specifically if you're not taking action with using your voice and educating those around you that are making policies that will affect your day-to-day life, we need to start being more proactive with education on the ground. Why DeFi, and then go from there. Why DeFi, and then if you're having a hard time with, onboarding new users into crypto. Hi, my name is Lindsay. I'm the COO of Vibra Finance. We have created a step-by-step guide to get you started safely with crypto. Self-custody, so important. Not to keep your money on centralized exchanges. Our audience here knows that. This is like nothing that I need to keep preaching on for them. But for those that are new here and just tuning in, this is a step-by-step guide to get you started safely with crypto. And if you're watching this, then you're obviously interested in crypto, involved in crypto, and you are probably busy too. So if you're super busy, I just wanted to share with you that I have the ability to help you with onboarding users into crypto safely, and it won't cost you any of your time, which at the end of the day, time is money, money is time, all these great things. But this gives someone a step-by-step guide to get started independently, which will create confidence to be able to continue to facilitate these transactions themselves, which is fundamentally the most important thing, so that they can be confident owning their own crypto. They are not going to be relying on middlemen in the future. Be your own bank. Join us here at Vibra Finance and get on the DeFi train. It's the way to beat it. It's the way to grow and thrive and survive. And with the threat that's upon us with our economic liberties, it is now more important than ever to learn how to custody your own money, to nurture that money, to spread that money out in ways that will grow positively for you and generations to come. So thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in today. I don't even know if I probably didn't even do the subject of CBDCs justice with that, but I really wanted to hammer in home that these things have already been in plan and in place. And it's great to see bills like Representative Tom Emmer throwing out there, the Anti-Surveillance Act. It's great, but surveillance is already upon us all the time. Operation Stingray, you don't know. You don't know. And these things aren't going away. So we might as well educate ourselves about them a little bit more. So I'll be continuing to keep you guys updated. I'm interested to see what they do with, I'm interested to see what happens with the ISO and the FedNow wallet. Now I'm really curious to see what's going to happen from April to July as these things roll out. So we'll keep our eyes on the ground and our ears open too. So thank you all for being here. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to tune in Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Serena Alonzi and myself will be doing Hex updates, and we're going to give you some news on the changes coming through with mining versus staking. So once we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a brand new Ledger Nano X. So please consider liking, subscribing, hit the bell button for all the notifications. Follow us on Twitter @VibraFinance. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.